The role of the police and the security services in general in ensuring a smooth, free, and fair election in any jurisdiction can never be overemphasized. And with Ghana 3 weeks away from a major election, it's important to gauge their preparedness for the all important assignment. Today, my guest is the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service. Superintendent Sheila Abeye Bachman is my guest on Election Desk. We'll have a conversation about how they intend to protect you and I on the fateful day. Thank you for having us on the show. I would like us to segment this conversation into two parts. We'll focus on the election proper, and then we'll talk about the general security of the country. Let's start with the general security of the country. On my way here, I saw a lot of people not wearing masks, and the president in his last address was visibly very angry that people are flouting this directive. There was an EI. Why is the police service not enforcing this EI?
Okay, so you say there was an EI. It means that the the executive instrument has a time period,
Right.
Isn't it?
Right.
Do you remember the time period?
I know the president in his addresses had always extended the EI, which meant that it was still in force, and the not wearing of the nose masks had become a criminal offense, and people could go to jail or be fined for that.
Okay, so we won't turn this into a law lecture.
Right.
Otherwise, it will have to be lengthier than we intend to. But what it is that whenever, like you're not wearing mask right now, you know when you came in, I said I would want to arrest you.
Right.
Whenever you approach anybody with a view of enforcement, the person pulls out the mask and puts it on. As soon as they see uniform, even when you are driving. So everybody has the mask. The reason they are not wearing, we don't understand. But it is important for everybody to understand that wearing of the mask, it is not the fact that anybody is interested in arresting and prosecuting or jailing you, but just so you can protect yourself and you can protect all of us. So we do our bit by attempting to arrest. But when you arrest, you need the evidence to show that the person was not wearing the mask. But if you are in uniform like me, and you approach to arrest, and the person puts on the mask, even before you get to the person, how are you going to produce the evidence to prove to the court that the person was not wearing the mask?
Are you suggesting that in every instance that's what happens, that people pull out the mask the moment they see the police?
In fact, even you as a civilian, when you leave this place, step out there, ask everybody on the streets, you see that all of them do have the mask. In fact, sometimes more than one. And once they see your camera, they'll put on the mask. So that is the difficulty with the enforcement. But we believe that with a collective effort, police doing its bit, everybody doing its bit, people would wear it to curtail the spread of the coronavirus disease.
Don't you think by setting an example out of a few people, you're going to get the message out there?
There have been examples across the country, particularly when the EI was first executed. So there have been examples.
But there appear to be a laxity since the lockdown was lifted and people are going about their normal duties.
Okay, so specifically about time limits on the EI, that one I will leave it to you to consult your lawyers about the time limits on what the EI says.
Right.
You know, I do know as a member of the bar that there was an advocacy for punishment to be reviewed, which has not happened yet. All those things. So it's a total matter of the criminal justice system. But it's also about you and I and everybody else. Letting people know that the objective is not just to arrest people, but just so we can all stop the spread and stay safe.
Okay.
If what the people want is that police should get onto the street and arrest just anybody and put everybody before the court so that we flood our prisons, when it gets there, we will do that. For now, though, everybody we approach takes the mask and wears it, making it difficult to establish the evidence you need.
Okay.
And the legal regimes are also very important.
Still on general security in the country, do you appreciate when people say that there is general insecurity in the country?
Do you feel there is general insecurity in the country? You are one of us.
Yes.
You see, I have been a crime victim before. And so I know how it feels to be a crime victim. So even when an incident happens and you're a crime victim, you expect that you get results promptly. And that is how we approach crimes that are occurring.
But, and I say this because if you listen to radio commentary, if you go on social media, and people say if a lawmaker can be killed and there's no progress in the case, if a law professor or a university professor could be killed in his home, if a member of parliament could be killed, then what holds for us, the ordinary citizens?
I'm happy you said that there is no progress in the case. There is progress in all investigation, and periodically the CID holds press briefing to let the press know. Although what the law requires is that when you have finished with investigation and you have assembled sufficient evidence that will make it possible for the state to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, what you do is to put the case before courts.
Right.
Or where it warrants taking it to the Attorney General, who is the state lawyer or the prosecutor, you send it there. So regardless of that, we still hold press briefings to let the public know the progress that we have made with cases of interest. So cases that are being investigated, as and when we have information that must be shared with the public, we do that.
There are those who say justice delayed is justice denied. If a lawmaker is killed in his home and for more than 3 years the perpetrators have not been, if you like, jailed or found or whatever explanation you want to give to, I don't think holding press briefings does justice to the people who are suffering from this crime.
With regards to the press briefing, it was just to satisfy you as a media person to know the progress of investigation.
Okay.
Because I told you the procedure is for us to investigate, get the sufficient evidence we need, put the matter before court. Who would be more happy if cases investigated are prosecuted and people are convicted? Police or the media? Then I am asking you, it is police.
Yeah.
Because after all, we have the mandate and we have the duty to respond to it. So we approach all such cases with the necessary attention it deserves.
My guest today on Election Desk is the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Sheila Abeye Bachman. We're having a conversation about the election and how prepared the police service is. Of course, we're also having a conversation about the general security in the country. We'll go for our first break. When we return, we'll zoom into the election and how prepared her outfit is for the all-important assignment. Stay with us. We're back after the break.
Powers and principalities.
There's so much fire inside me.
Tragedy struck when part of the largest hillside at the kosher rubbish dump collapsed.
It's going to be fun to see how he goes about approaching this game.
You're welcome back from the break. You're still here on Election Desk on Ghana Web TV. My name is Daniel Ojo. I'm having a conversation with the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service. We're gauging their preparedness ahead of the 2020 general election. We're less than a month out for that all-important assignment. We started off discussing general security in the country, the not wearing of nose masks, and why the police is not enforcing the EI 164. We've had some lessons in there. Let's zero in and talk about the elections and how the police is preparing for the all-important assignment. So, Superintendent, we've got 3 weeks to a major election. And I know this is not scientifically backed, but a lot of people feel there's a lot of capital flight, there's a lot of human flight when elections are approaching because people are scared there will be chaos and they will lose their monies or properties, and so they rather will travel outside with their families if they can afford it. How are you, if you like, ensuring that people feel safe ahead of the elections?
Anybody who thinks this country will not be safe is the person who is probably preparing to cause trouble. So I'll take the opportunity to assure well-meaning Ghanaians and residents to feel safe and to give whatever information they have about insecurity to police, so we tackle it. But for those who are planning to foment trouble, we are very ready for them. Of course, it's not over until it's over, but we are very prepared throughout this period, through the election day on 7th December and beyond, to keep maintaining law and order.
You say those who are scared are probably those who want to foment chaos, but wouldn't it be right for someone who saw the happenings at our Ayawaso West Wogon to feel that it's a good example of what could be on a larger scale on election day?
Okay, so let me put it this way. Not that all who are scared are those who are
Going to foment trouble.
yes. But then those who claim there is going to be trouble are probably those who are planning the trouble.
Okay.
But I do know that majority of the people have the confidence and trust about our preparedness, and they would give the necessary information they have. But talking about Ayawaso, the by-election,
Yes.
several legal steps have been taken after the by-election. We cannot use Ayawaso as a yardstick for the general elections. We have had general elections under this constitution since 1992. There have been incidences, yes, but Ayawaso should not reflect the entire totality of presidential and parliamentary elections in this country. Thankfully, we have learned lessons from Ayawaso.
You have.
And those lessons, we, Ghanaians,
Okay, Ghanaians.
yes,
And the police as an
everybody
entity?
has learned a lesson from it. There was a commission of inquiry that sat on cameras for everybody to see even what was going on. White paper issued. So legal processes are followed after that. The assurance I can give is that this is 2020, December 7th, presidential parliamentary elections. Although we have policed all the elections in this country, we take every election as a different event. And we apply lessons learned from previous elections to new situations to make it work. So we are very much prepared. As the Inspector General of Police said, the Election Security Task Force was re-inaugurated sometime last year. And since then, events that must take place to ensure that we are safe throughout the period until after the elections are taking place according to plan. The elections will be policed by not only the police service, but all security services. I know we would have to do that with the Ghana Fire Service, the Ghana Prison Service, Ghana Immigration Service, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, and the Ghana Armed Forces, with the Bureau of National Investigation still supporting with intelligence. All these institutions will be in our regular uniforms.
Okay. I know you talk a good talk, and probably it's because of your work and job description as a public affairs director, but for those who have mistrust in the police, how do you assure them that the police will be professional in the conduct of their duties on election day?
I am sure you will attest the fact that we improve day by day. So we will be highly professional. Within and externally, there have been several activities, including in-service trainings, including watching videos or scenarios from elsewhere, including engaging the partners who, or the people who often cause the trouble, the youth, including engaging traditional leaders, leaders of faith-based organizations, opinion leaders, the media. You carry out the message. If you decide to carry out negative information will thrive. If you decide to let us know the good things that we are doing as a people, as a whole, not just the police service, that will also thrive. And you know we've been engaging you.
Yes.
So we're hoping that all these activities will let everybody understand that the election, which is being run by the Electoral Commission, what security services are doing, we are just to help maintain general law and order.
Right.
And maybe support with some administrative support when it comes to guarding the ballot materials and officials, or escorting them, transporting them from one place to the other, and all those things.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the event is that of the Electoral Commission.
Right.
And ours is to help with maintenance of law and order. So let's keep assuring well-meaning Ghanaians that they are the reason why we are planning and executing all the things we are doing. But for those who intend to foment trouble, you know, we are in a period where terrorism is not something that we are overlooking. And we know all the research that people have conducted regarding Ghana's situation and how people from elsewhere can take advantage of situations to try to undermine security of the state. So when terrorist actions are taken, we will approach it like terrorist actions.
You have intelligence that that could happen?
That is not something I can share with you.
Okay.
But our planning and preparation also includes that. Vigilantism is outlawed. We have a law that says that the minimum punishment for vigilantism is 10 years, and the actions that constitute vigilantism. So we will approach it as it is. So let's keep having trust in our security services and work together.
They say the vigilante groups that were disbanded have found their way, members have found their way into the security services.
I do not know about that.
So you don't, what do you say to people who say they know for a fact that that's what's happening?
They should supply information. In any case, security services like police that I speak for is a Ghanaian institution. We have a criteria of people we want to recruit. We recruit you, we train you. So you get a special skill over and above that of civilian.
Okay.
But we have rules that check our conduct. And that is what makes you a professional. And that is why even if you are a Catholic and you're dealing with a Muslim, you do not deal with a person with a religious bias. So that although you have the right to vote and you choose which candidate you vote for, you deal with Ghanaians as Ghanaians, or you deal with people as people, not according to political coloration.
Does the police have a protocol for politicians to bring people they feel should be in the security service?
Not that I know.
Okay. Would we have marked police men like we had in Ayawaso West during this election? They were full regalia. You couldn't even see their faces.
Police officers and security personnel who would be deployed for the election on election day will be in the regular uniforms that you know. What will make us different from an officer who is not assigned for election duty is a duty armlet that will be worn on either the left arm or the right arm.
What will be the inscription on it?
Conspicuously, it will be election.
Okay.
And other things. But this is not the time to show it so people try to fake it.
Okay.
But you will know it on the election day.
So if we see police people marched, all armed, without the whatever you say will be an indication that they are assigned for election, what should we do?
How do you mean you see people marked? Give any information about suspicions you have about criminals to the police and let us act on them. You know, we are going to have security officers stationed at polling stations as one form of protection. And we are going to have security officers, basically operational units of the police service and the Ghana Armed Forces patrolling, either on foot or in vehicles. These officers will be armed. They are not at the polling station. They are patrolling so they can respond to matters easily. But then we will still have rapid response teams who would come in and help if the need arises. And we will have standby forces.
Okay.
So like 4th year of approach. And these 3 teams will be made up of operational units of the police and the armed forces. And we will all be in the regular uniforms that you know we wear.
Do we have the men? We've assigned 200 people to the members of parliament.
62. We do have the men and the women.
We do?
Yeah, we are
because
using...
already there was a conversation about the population ratio, i.e. police to population ratio, and it wasn't enough, and now we are assigning a lot more to the members of parliament. So would we have enough people for the election?
We are using 62,794 security personnel.
In 16
and
regions and 275 constituencies.
I keep insisting that it is not just the police service.
Right.
Police is leading because of our mandate, but it is a national election security task force with similar task forces in the regions and in the districts. And it's made up of police, fire service, immigration service, customs division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, and all other such institutions who wear uniform.
If we see a police officer without a name tag on election day, how should we go about it?
The name tag can just remove and fall down. If you see anything that is unusual, call the attention of the police.
So citizens are not to take any action other than reach out to the
Yes,
police.
you need to report. Not wearing name tag is not a crime for you to say that I have seen the person committing a crime, which the law allows the citizen to effect arrest. So you draw the attention of the police officer. But if it is at a polling station, draw the attention of the returning officer, the official of the Electoral Commission. Because at polling stations, they are in charge. Even the security personnel posted there is under his lawful command.
Okay. What are we doing with politicians who have personal security bodyguards and then come to the polling station? How does the police intend to address this?
Politicians having personal security.
They have bodyguards who are not security people, just macho men who follow politicians around.
So my husband is a macho man. Is he?
No. But you know, you are not going to deny that you've seen some of these happen in the past.
You see, sometimes I think we should just be a bit moderate in some of the descriptions. We are saying we have engaged the political parties and we keep engaging them. And we trust and hope that they have agents at every polling station. So the opportunity for them to observe the processes have been given in their agents. We have appealed to them, we have urged them, and we will continue to urge them not to be moving from station to station with followers so that the process can be smooth. But, private security operations are regulated by the police by law.
Okay.
So when you say politicians go with private security people, I find it difficult to understand whether this is security companies that have been hired.
That's why I zeroed in and said the macho men, some of who are not from private security. These are just macho men who follow.
Let's be careful we don't.
I'm not stereotyping macho men, but we've seen these happen. I want to understand whether it's an offense for a politician to say, go and observe the process with an entourage, some of whom are macho men, quote unquote.
It's not an offense for anybody to observe, provided the person is doing what the electoral officials want them to do. You have only one vote. You go to the polling station. If there is a queue, you join the queue accordingly. It's your turn. You cast your vote. You go. You can decide to go home or go and stand afar and watch the process. There is no problem with that. Right.
Right.
We don't expect people to be moving in masses from one polling station to the other. The event is just a day's event. If you decide to do that rather than go to cast your ballot, by the time you return to the polling station, it's 5 p.m. and you would have lost the opportunity of casting for the candidate you prefer.
The APC flag bearer, Hassan Ayaga, says he wrote to the police service for protection because while moving around, he carries a lot of cash, he has people he's responsible for, and the police has turned a blind eye to his request. How accurate is that?
I spoke to Dr. Hassan Ayaga, I think 2 days ago.
Okay.
But, you know, IGP met political parties on 25th June 2020, this year, and assured them that once the Electoral Commission satisfies who and who qualify, the police will give them police guards. And this came from the Inspector General of Police. It didn't come upon request. So this is something we are committed to. If for any reason, any of the candidates has not been assigned a police guard, they should just draw our attention and it will be done.
Do you have the logistics? We're wrapping up our conversation. Do you have the logistics? Do you need anything that would ensure that you smoothly carry out your duties?
Security services that are going to carry out the election duty do have sufficient for the purpose. You know, for the past 2 or 3 months, the Inspector General of Police has been going around the country with a team of other security officers to every region in the country. Police, we have an extra region because of operational exigencies. Tema is a region, Accra is a region. The Inspector General of Police has been moving from one region to the other. I have been part of the team. You know why? We are not campaigning like politicians are campaigning, but just to see for himself the readiness and operational capability of the regional police commands to lead security services in carrying out election duties. So that wherever there was a gap, Accra or whatever we needed to do to fill the gap would be done. In fact, almost all of them are being filled, but there is still some that will have to be done specifically for election day, and those will be done.
Okay.
So we have the resources that we need for the election.
Okay.
But of course, security is a continuing process. So even after elections, we will still have to maintain law and order. So if private sector can help, why not? We are ready.
Okay. And finally, the Small Arms Commission says there's a proliferation of small arms in the country. Is that a worry to the police service, and how do you intend to curtail the appetite for people to acquire personal protective equipment?
The police and the Small Arms Commission are all agencies under the Ministry of Interior. So we do a lot of work together. We do share a lot of information. And so we are aware of the numbers. A lot also depends on the citizenry giving information to police.
But where are these people getting the arms from, though?
I'm sure the Small Arms Commission will answer that. Isn't it a wonder to you and I? Apart from the blacksmiths who manufacture arms in the country, some of them have had arms from the past. I'm sure the Small Arms Commission has made that known. So it's a wonder to all of us. But for us, it is a mandate. It's a duty we cannot shirk. And so we continue to fish out the necessary information for processing and for retrieval.
Does it scare the police service? Is it a bother? Is it a worry that people, citizens, civilians, are carrying guns?
Everything that has criminal implication is of concern to the police, but it doesn't scare the police.
So this intermittent checks, sometimes police check, stop you at a barrier and they just speak to you without necessarily checking your boot or anything. Are we going to review our check-in system?
We do different checks at different points and at different times. So you get to one point where there is a long queue of traffic. And the reason is that every car or every booth is being checked. But you get to places and we only speak to you. We are there for several reasons. Sometimes the visibility alone makes the lawful or law-abiding person feel safe, because you know that if something is happening and I call, police is just nearby to respond to it. And it scares the bad people away. Sometimes we have information as to particular things we are looking for. And in those cases, the approach is different. So different approaches at different times, it's because there is a reason for doing that.
Okay.
If we decide to stop everybody at every barrier we put in this country, I'm sure you will come complaining. Ghana Web will be like, hey, police is not allowing traffic to flow.
Right.
So there is a reason why we do that.
Right. I don't know if it's in your place to speak on this, but there are some general high-profile cases people want to know which stages they are. The member of parliament who was allegedly murdered, the professor who was murdered in his home. Are you able to tell us where these cases are? And this is our final question.
The regular CID briefings will give the details that are supposed to be shared. Sometimes police may have some amount of information that cannot be shared in the media space at that particular point in time. But thankfully, if the matter ends up in court, it's a public place, and reporters can report from there. But our regular briefing helps the public to also follow some of these high-profile cases.
The last time I checked on the professor's case, one of the suspects had died. One was now in critical condition. From a layman's perspective, I'm like, okay, what's happening? How is it a coincidence that the suspect, one is dead, one is in critical condition?
All such incidences are investigated.
So you investigate for a possible attempt to eliminate witnesses who could bring closure to the case?
When we are investigating, we don't zoom in on just one angle, because there could be several other reasons.
Okay.
Provided that there is criminality involved, we look at all angles that could have the criminality.
Okay. So, Superintendent, while we are on the election ground voting, there's a likelihood that people will leave their homes unattended to. How will the police ensure that people's property are protected while they are on the election ground voting?
So our mandate is general law and order. Police work will carry on the usual way that we do carry on, except that we are adding the other security services so that we can have massive visibility for the election. But our normal work will go on. In fact, the frequent patrol will even make it more easier to protect the neighborhoods. Because you know we have over 33,000 polling stations. The distance between one polling station and the other is not that far, and they are in the communities across the country. Yeah. So be assured, it will even be better. We wish that we have the numbers like that all the time. Yeah.
So your final words to the citizen?
Okay, so Ghanaians should be rest assured that security services are ready to protect the ballots, to protect you, to protect properties in Ghana. The rest is for you to do. Be law-abiding. If you have any information that you need to give to police, please do that at any point in time. Through all the channels you know you can do that. Coronavirus is still a matter of concern. That is why it is part of our plan to ensure that you do not come to the polling station without wearing your mask. So as you step out every day of your life, please wear your mask and let's all stay safe. Thank you.
So that was the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Sheila Abeye Bachman. We've been having a conversation about her outfit's preparedness for the 2020 general election. We're less than 1 month away, and she's assuring the entire citizenry that they will carry out their job in a very professional manner and that there's no cause for alarm. My name is Daniel Odro. This has been another edition of Election Desk on Ghana Web TV. We'll come your way next time with another edition of the show. Until then, keep safe. Bye for now.